I'm going to show you how to put the plastic on the pages for the front cover with our frame today. The last time I made a video before my holiday, I made a acrylic page. Had a little fumble with it, but it still worked. And I made it a little larger than I need, so I'll be trimming it down today. But this is actually going to be a pocket insert. And to prepare for that, I made these little frames are 3/4 of an inch thick. So I made 5/8 by 5/8, so that's 1 1/4. I made a strip of paper and I scored it down the middle. And I'm just going to, let's see, I'm going to put some double-sided tape on one end of it and the other. And I'm going to put this right on the plastic piece I made. Let me push this down a little bit for a minute. So I'm just going to remove the cover of my acrylic tape. And I'm going to put it on the edge of the clear acrylic. Now what this will do is give me a finger hold. When I do the decorative part of this album, I will also be adding tabs. But right now, I'm just putting this on the plastic I made, putting it at the fold, and adhering it. And then I'm going to take the other tape cover off. And folding it over. So now this is nice and thick. When I go to make a pocket of this, I'm going to angle it and slide it in. But for right now, I'll just leave that aside and work on the pocket. Now I took 3/4 of an inch strips and I placed a couple together to get a mitered corner. And this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet. I do not need it all. So let's figure out how much I actually need for the width. And I think I can cut it off. I want to show a little black. So I can cut off about a 1/2 inch of this for the length. Let me just do that with a paper trimmer. So it was 8.5 by 11. And now I'm going to just make it 8 inch wide. And that's what I'm going to be adhering these paper strips to. Now, it's going to be one little trick. And the trick is, the top one is not going to be open. I mean, it's going to be open. It's going to, because I'm making a pocket. So I am just going to place one of these along the side. Nothing's attached right now. I'm just making a frame. I've tried this a couple different ways and I find that this way works best. I do not use liquid glue on this. Because once you get liquid glue on acrylic, it's near impossible to get it off. So that's why I'm using just double-sided tape. And I'm risking the risk of losing some of my acrylic just to make sure I have enough acrylic to cover. So I have this about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. I think I'm going to leave that one off and do the top one first. You can do this in any order you want. You can even cut out a rectangle with a hole in it and not use mitered corners. I sort of like mitered corners. Line this up, 1/8 of an inch away. That looks good to me. I've already put a distressed ink along the edge so it doesn't have any white edges. Okay. Now I'm putting that third piece down, which was the second one I took the cover off of. And hopefully this one will fit right in. And it looks like it fits pretty well. So I'll adhere this, and then I will have my rectangle with a frame. And right now it's directly on the acrylic. I still have trouble getting the backing off this double-sided tape. I should probably have a pokey tool out here to do that, but my fingernails just don't do it. Okay, so I've got this lined up. I'm leaving a little bit of black showing, and I think I like that. It's not quite straight, so I'm lifting it up a little. Moving it up a little. There we go. All right, I now have a piece of acrylic with my corners. I'm going to lift that up. I'm going to use my scissors. Let's see if I have a big pair around. Of course I don't. So I'll use the little ones. I find sometimes with acrylic, it's easiest just to cut along with scissors rather than the trimmer. Okay, I'm going to save this acrylic because it'll be a nice photo cover or something for later. Now, how am I going to adhere this? Now, I can see that my miter is not perfect here. So I'm going to see if I can pull that over a little. Okay, I'm gonna go with that miter even though it's not perfect. Now I have an 1/8 of an inch around, and I'm going to take mounting tape, which you can get at any hardware store. It's not touching a photo, so it's fine to use this. Or you can use foam tape that you get at a craft store. But if you use foam tape and you can't get black foam tape, take a magic marker and cover the edge. By covering the edge, I'm using a Sharpie right now. When you look on the side of this pocket, you will not see white. And since the base of my album is black, I would like there not to be a whole lot of white showing. So that's what you can do. You can do that to both sides. I've done it ahead of time from the last book I made. And the other thing to remember when you do this, when you first start, there's still going to be a little bit of white there. So just take a magic marker or a Sharpie or even distress ink, put a little black on the edge. Now I'm going to place this You can do it on the acrylic. I'm doing it right about in the middle. Or you can do it on the black. It's your choice. This one, I'm doing it right on the acrylic. Now this is my top piece, and I'm not going to remove the back of this because I want this to be free sliding, but I still want it to be elevated. On the other ones, I will shortly remove the backing and attach it. Since I have the sizing just about where I want it, I can put it right to the acrylic. And this just gives room for our little golden doodle. Golden doodle. So the foam tape is going right to the acrylic. And remember, do not take the backing off the top piece. Just going to cover any white edges. Okay. We're now ready for application. This is my top, this is my bottom, and I like it. Now before I even do this, I sort of want to measure how big that is. This will fit in fine. We'll just cut that down after. Okay, this one stays intact. These ones will be coming off. So I'm just going to bend the side a little bit so I can take it off from the front. Just removing the back liner. And for these ones, I think I'll remove a little bit in the corner because the pocket page won't touch the corner, so there's no reason that has to be on. And that'll give it a secure base to pull the flap in and out. So I removed the corners, I folded these down, and I will carefully place this in the right position. Remembering I want about 1/8 of an inch of black showing. Now by not putting it all on at once, but just the corners, I can position it easier, and if there's a mistake made, it's easier to fix. There we go. So now I can just gently pull off the rest of the adhesive cover, burnish it a little on all 3 sides. There we go. Let's see, did I leave some cover on there? Nope, I'm okay. All right, there is my frame. Now I'm still not putting this on yet, just laying it. This is the inside of the book. Soon we'll be doing the outside of the book. Just want to make sure that my golden doodle fits in there nicely, and it does. So now I'm going to flip my book over. Let's see. We'll just put Mr. Golden Doodle up here. Flip this over. Now this side is a little bit easier because it doesn't need any height. This has that little thickness on it, but the next piece will not need the thickness. I do need another piece of acrylic, and you can see I keep my small pieces, so even this piece I'll put it in my box so I have it. This is just transparency plastic, and it works great for acrylic covers. Now remember, we took off a 1/2 inch along the side. So we make this 8.5 paper, 8.5 by 11 down to 8 by 11. And we want at least a 1/4 inch showing. So probably about 5 1/2 would do it. And that's just about a 1/2 sheet. So that would give me another cover for another book. So I'm laying this on the 5 1/2, adhering it. And this one will go totally flat. And let's see, I think what I'll do is attach this before I attach my frame. So I'm just putting my double-sided tape directly to my album cover. If you find that this lifts off after your album is made because it doesn't have 2 types of tape on it, you can very gently and with very minimal glue add some liquid glue. But I would get everything established first so that you won't get any liquid glue. I'm going to burnish that a little, it didn't release the adhesive. So you won't get any liquid glue on your acrylic. This paper, this acrylic paper is actually treated for a printer, and because of that, it is very water reactive. So, and the glue has water in it. Okay, so I'm just going to place my acrylic centered on top here, and then I'm going to add my mitered frame. Now, with acrylic, you do not want to burnish it hard because the acrylic will warp. Okay, so I think these are all the same size, so it doesn't really matter how I have them. This is the top of my album, I think. Let me check. Yes. Yep, this is the top of my album. Okay, this is T. I think the top, I want to have these little footprints showing. Now, the easiest way to get, I got my black Sharpie in my fingernails there. The easiest way to get a mitered corner is to place your 2 corners together so they're straight, and then cut from the corner or the inside, either way, and that will give you a miter. And I think I'll just do that for the top and the bottom, and then I'll do the bottom the same exact miters. So I hold the 2 pieces together. This time I'll cut from the center to the point, and that'll give you a miter. And the bottom one I'll make exactly like the top. I won't worry about it matching up in the bottom, we'll just make it match. Now, because I've done distress ink on this before, I don't have my distress ink here right now, but I don't want these corners to look white. So I'm just going on from the inside, I'm just putting a little dab of black so that white paper won't show. And now it's easier than with the foam tape. We're just going to apply these flat. So remove your backing of your tape. Place this within 1/8 of an inch of the edge. And there we go. I'm going to do the side straight down, and I shouldn't have removed all the tape, so I'll go careful there. Okay, I figured out my height there. I just folded it. And I'm going to cut that off now. Probably should have cut it off before I released the tape. Okay. I'll do the same thing with this before I release the tape. Cutting off the edge. Okay, now I'll put the other side on and then I'll place the bottom on. And we now have, or soon we'll have, an acrylic pocket that can be changed. It can have a photo in it. It can have something with two sides, like the acrylic tab I'm making, or it can just have one side. Okay, and I noticed that I did not cut this perfectly straight. So I'm just going to fix that a little bit so it doesn't show. I think that'll be fine. I'm actually cutting in, not a full miter, just cutting a little bit off so none of this will show from the bottom. Okay. Last piece, and the pocket is finished. Now, none of us are really used to working with an acrylic. I'm getting more used to it. The trick is to keep it dry and not to burnish it a lot. Those are the main tricks. And there is my pocket page. Now, I'm going to flip it back over to the inside. Take a piece of my edging here, and you can see that it is an empty pocket. And for my, let's see, where's my golden doodle here? Trying to figure out which side I like better. Okay, I think this is the correct side. So I am going to cut this off. Remember, I have foam under here, so it only can go right about to there. So I'm going to mark this where I want to cut it. The bottom should fit just right. I'm taking my Sharpie again. I'm drawing a line where I want to cut this. I find that sometimes I have to fix this because I make it a little bit too wide. That's okay. This will give us a start. So that's what I want to cut off for my pocket. This time I am going to do it with a cutter. I don't want any of that black to show. That'll help take off a little bit more. Remember, it's a pocket, so it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm removing that. And do the other side. And I'm angling the top. Let's see, here's my scissors. I'm angling the top and eventually I'll add even a tab to this. Let's see if this fits in. It's still a little bit wide. So let's cut off a little bit more. So I haven't exactly figured out the whole sizing of this yet. And I guess I could make it the right size to begin with, but I find if I make it bigger, there's fewer chances for mistake. So now I'm sliding my Mr. Golden Doodle in here. And there he is. Now this piece that shows, that's blue, I can decide if I want it to be shorter or not by just trimming off the bottom, and I might do that. But now we have, let's see, a golden doodle showing on both sides. I think I do want it to go a little bit lower. And what we're doing is we're hitting that foam tape that we added to give it a rise in a pocket. So I'm just going to take off about almost a 1/4 inch. Let's see how he fits into the pocket. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, so now we have Golden Doodle here. When we look at the front of the book, we also have Golden Doodle. So I'm going to stop for now, but that's my cover. And when I add my little 3/8 inch strips, I'll also add tabs to all my pages so that this will be easier to remove. For now, that'll be it. But we still have a few steps in this book. Since I went on holiday, let me get my stuff out here. When I went on holiday, I missed a couple weeks and I got behind, and some of the students are ahead of me. So I had designed this book with a very pretty blue pattern for my book slots, and that's what needs to be added next. Both on the outside cover and the inside cover. I've decided to keep it the same. And then of course we have all these double-sided hinges, and we need to put our pages on and then decorate between the hinges and put tabs on for our pocket pages. So there's still a couple videos to go, and I hope you have fun making your pocket. And remember, it doesn't have to be a vinyl piece. It can be a photo, it can be memorabilia, ephemera, anything you want. So have fun designing your special pocket page.